gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. I'm Santi, that's Sancho. Money in the Bank is just around the corner. Then again, it seems like a WWE PLE is just around every single corner that we turn. Sancho, how are you on this fine, wonderful week of Money in the Bank?
It's a weird fog, dude. We should be excited about Money in the Bank, but alas, the WWE streak of bad PR just continues. It continues. The garbage truck on fire of the WWE PR is probably is this the peak of how bad it could get, or this is just the first domino of how bad it could get, Santi, for us WWE fans?
I think it's the first domino. I think we hit it on the head. I think it was literally last week's episode where we need to start seeing this era of WWE not as the Paul Levesque Triple H era, but as the TKO era, as the corporate era. Because I feel like RTruth is quite seriously the death of the canary in the coal mine. I think it's about to get much worse. I think things are about to become a lot more corporate and soulless. And we'll talk about all of this and so much more in today's episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast, coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. Of course, that you could be getting this episode 3 days earlier than everywhere else on the planet over on patreon.com/SantiZap, where for $5 you get the podcast early and a whole bunch of extra series that are exclusive to Patreon, like the Raw review, SmackDown review, the currently ongoing John Cena championship wins and losses, Sancho's almost finished Royal Rumble series, the already finished Undertaker series that's up there and available, and more. So come check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap. $5 gets you all of the content. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support, and I hope that you've been enjoying the podcast earlier than everywhere else. But Sancho, I think we should just jump right into it. That RTruth conversation dominating the landscape of internet wrestling community conversations, and understandably so. A 17-year run with the WWE coming to an end. Not a 17-year career, because before that he was in the WWE before as K-Quick towards the end of the Attitude Era as well. So we are talking about a long, basically lifer in the WWE, being not released, just not renewed, his contract being allowed to expire. No new contract, no Legends contract, just simply WWE and RTruth are done. I have a lot of thoughts about this. The first thought that I have, let me put my wrestling booker brain on really for a second here. What a missed opportunity. Tremendously missed opportunity for the RTruth and John Cena feud. This should have been a loser leaves town match. If WWE knew that they weren't going to re-sign Truth, you might as well make the most out of Truth leaving out the door. You might as well have made this negativity ball that we have right now that's being targeted at the business and TKO and wrestling, and you should have done a thing where you bottled all of that up, manufactured it into real wrestling heat, and pointed it at John Cena, shined a light at John Cena, and make John Cena the reason why the fun in WWE is leaving our TV screens. John Cena should have beaten RTruth, loser leaves town, and it should have been John Cena's fault as to why RTruth is no longer with us. Instead, now we have a bottle of hatred that is pointed towards TKO, and a lot of concern and a lot of uncertainty for upcoming contracts within WWE superstars as well. To me, that just signaled a lack of foresight, you know, when it comes to RTruth and just their general storytelling in general. How do you not take advantage of that? It was right there for the taking. And we'll talk a little bit more about just RTruth leaving in general, but that's the first thing that came to mind in this lack of foresight to turn something that happens often in wrestling, people leaving, people not getting re-signed, people being let go. In previous regimes and in previous generations, they would have absolutely done something like a loser leaves town. Hell, Ricochet got written off of TV in a way that made someone else look strong and powerful. They should have done something with RTruth here on his way out, and it should have been the John Cena made him retire.
I feel like this is it's interesting point like you make there, that the wrestling side of it wasn't taken care of, the business side of it. What makes pro wrestling in like a fun ride, even though people leave, they come and go, retire, there's always a send-off, there's a crescendo, there is an ending point, a exclamation point. Even the times that we don't know when someone's gone, like Roman Reigns and the Undertaker all of a sudden putting his boots in the thing, like, wait a minute, this wasn't advertised as a retirement match, and we're watching it right now. There's like, I like that you said that there's a missed opportunity. And I think it's just because when a corporation slowly takes over, and you and I have been a part of many corporations, I've worked for some, is that one hand doesn't talk to the other hand. The marketing team doesn't know what's happening on the creative side of the team. This is always happening when the business gets bigger. I'm not saying that this is the case here, but it's clear as day that maybe they did not understand where the road was going to end for R-Truth, or maybe it was to the midnight hour. Like, we're going to open this and see if negotiations could happen. And maybe they just didn't want to pay R-Truth more. Or maybe R-Truth was asking for more and they didn't want to pay it. Who knows? There's so many things that, and I said this in a YouTube video that I made for sanchowest Wrestling, is that there's so many things that we don't know. We could only rely on the things we do know. And that's all the posts that all the professional wrestlers are making, all from the past and current superstars. And they're saying that R-Truth will be missed in the locker room. I think that would be the biggest disservice into this entire ride for not only current locker room, but future locker rooms, is having a reliable superstar like R-Truth to be able to lean on, to bounce ideas with, to ask them questions. And that was in a tweet from Zelina Vega. She said he was a great person to bend an ear to hug, in terms of to find support for things that are happening in life and in and out of the ring aspect. And I think what hurts us the most, Santi, is we will never get the proper goodbye for R-Truth. You would hope that the WWE could send a proper goodbye, just like anytime a favorite superstar, hell, Luka Doncic even got a goodbye video from the Mavericks after they got traded unceremoniously to the Lakers. Why did this not happen with R-Truth? The announcers are ignoring R-Truth. And I've been in the commentator's shoes before, when the community is viably upset about something that's happening on the internet and is being in the Twitch chat while I'm commentating on a match, and to be told to ignore all that, it just makes it worse. Now, Santi, in my mind, there's a small percentage that I'm being worked, right? That maybe R-Truth would be involved in the in-game moment, come out of the portal and save us the help from John Cena from completely ruining wrestling type of vibe. Will that happen? Most likely not. But I'm holding on to that optimism here that I'm being worked in the worst diabolical way of using these internet fandom of the "we want R-Truth" type of movement, and that Triple H is going to pull the trigger there. But I'm just giving the WWE a lot of credit to dance this line and to be able to execute something very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I appreciate your optimism, but I think
it's 1%, brother.
It's I believe that's what the kids today are calling copium, my friend. I think that's what's happening here. I do
Adam Copium.
Well, speaking of Adam Copium, even he got the ability to go off on his own terms, get a send-off match, even though WWE knew he was bound for AEW. So things are different. Things are changing. And here's my question on all of this, man. Like, okay, R-Truth, probably not the biggest merch driver. I'm sure he's not unsuccessful at it. That Ron Cena sure was killing it. But like, that's, I would say, an outlier as opposed to the norm of R-Truth merch sales. We're talking about a guy that wasn't the most popular. We're talking about a guy that wasn't having the best matches. He wasn't featured in the main programs or anything like that. But 17 years of experience. That's something you cannot buy. That is something that is so valuable in any organization, wrestling or not. That is something that is specifically in a world where you have so many up-and-comers would be so valuable to have a sounding board of somebody that's been there through multiple regimes, multiple generations of professional wrestling that could be a voice of wisdom in your locker room. I don't understand how somebody like a company like TKO, who's clearly trying to make partnerships with basketball, how they don't understand the value of a Udonis Haslem, right? A guy that's just there because he is a locker room staple. That is a guy for those that don't know, that is a guy that played for the Miami Heat until he was like 46, like really, really old. He got no playtime at all, but he was always there on the bench. He was there for practices. He was there to be the voice of reason for the young up and comers. He was probably a good financial voice of reason for the new guys that are making an insane amount of money on that team. R-Truth could have played that same role in the WWE. But not just that role, he was also valuable on TV because he was giving us a alternative form of entertainment within the wrestling programming that we were watching, which was comedy. He was the best at it. So I question, a lot of people were like, well, he's old. He wasn't contributing much. I dare say he was contributing a lot in ways that who are just watching the product might not be willing to expand your brain and recognize, because 17 years of experience gives you the ability to be an asset in different ways that isn't just going out there and having 5-star matches. They still have Titus O'Neil on the roster being an ambassador. So I know that there's other roles that WWE could take advantage of for somebody like an R-Truth that is so beloved by the fans and clearly beloved by the roster. This feels like a tone-deaf corporate decision designed to save TKO a decimal on a balance sheet. This makes no sense to me.
Do you think that the WWE presented all that to R-Truth and perhaps he said, I'm not interested, I could still wrestle? I mean, there's always that aspect that's how I mentioned the missing piece of that. We could only speculate that R-Truth thought he can continue, he could go, he could be given more and he wants more. I know R-Truth, though, recently in the past couple of years did come off an injury. That's highlighted him for a bit. But I think what the WWE, what it is, it's a tale of two halves, right? And I think the Karrion Kross pipe bomb that he did at WrestleMania on the Talking Raw or the Raw After, whatever they call it, the Raw podcast, shows us what's happening behind the scenes. He gave us a peek at it where imagine you were sitting there in a meeting and TKO was like, we here at TKO want our wrestlers to have viral moments. We want you to make sure that in your matches, in your promos, you're able to provide a viral moment for us because viral moments are the fuel for a brand going forward for the WWE. And Karrion Kross took that to heart and you understand like, okay, I need to make viral moments. Now, I feel that the WWE's in-ring product is getting slightly more scarier and dangerous. The spots are getting a lot more viral moment-y, and we've seen it throughout the entire Monday and SmackDown that there's going to be a big major spot that is very, very close to being dangerous. Even the speed matches are having these kind of viral moments, right? So you hear that, right? Santi, on your Instagram, who gets one of the biggest numbers on your page? In TikTok as well.
It's Karrion Kross.
Segment-wise.
It's Karrion Kross. Okay, every time.
And who else always get an easy 100, 200,000 views for just a 2-minute part of your podcast show?
R-Truth.
R-Truth. I can tell you this, as someone who clips my reactions, and I know you as well, R-Truth segment happens, gotta go up immediately. Immediately has to go up because people love R-Truth. People understand the expectation that this guy will deliver a moment that may go viral, and it has proven that he is a commodity in that aspect. And for the WWE to toss that aside, that's something that you can't teach. You can't teach comedic relief. You can't teach comedic timing. To toss that aside unceremoniously is the problem that most people have with this departure.
I sat here on this podcast a couple of months ago, and I said that Triple H was being a massive hypocrite in his interview when he said that the people online, that conversation is BS, that all we do is listen to the people in the arena. Remember when he said that in that interview, and I called him out for being a hypocrite? Like, okay, all right, like if you hear it in the arena, let's have that discussion. And there were numerous times where the crowd were chanting one particular thing, like, for example, Karrion Kross getting the biggest pop, even though he would appear for 40 seconds, and they were still doing nothing with it. So where is this same energy? You mentioned the commentary team completely ignoring the "We Want Truth" chants. They are chanting for a guy that isn't even part of your company anymore because you made a bad decision to remove a crowd favorite for no other reason than some simple financials that I'm sorry, like you are charging ridiculous ticket prices. You are making hand over fist biggest profits that you made year over year. You sit at every PLE press conference and brag about how you had the biggest gate in XYZ history. So if your decision was a business decision, a dollars decision to cut R-Truth, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for crowds hijacking your show, because you said the crowds are the ones that dictate what you do, what you say. The crowd's telling you you made a bad decision with R-Truth. If you do nothing about this, if you ignore it, if you have commentary, do nothing about it, I'm going to continue to wave the flag that you are a hypocrite and let Papa H. Cook continues to be the biggest fraudulent statement in the history of this sport. Like I've said time and time again, let Papa H. Cook is the biggest crutch to give somebody for bad decisions. I don't see anybody saying let Papa H. Cook over letting Triple H go. So even that crutch is starting to dissipate. Even the leeway that fans have been giving Triple H is starting to dissipate. And this is why I said that the removal of R-Truth is the death of the canary in the coal mine, of the change of business, the change of cutthroat business tactics of TKO now. This has gone, for all of his faults and all of his problems, the Vince McMahon regime, that was a family-run company that was run differently. You know, this type of thing would just wouldn't happen as often as they're happening with TKO. We're seeing the soulless company corporate decisions that are happening now that would happen in the Amazons of the world, right? That would happen in big tech companies. But like now it's happening in wrestling, and that is a tough pill to swallow.
Can I tell you a quick story? I grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan. Slow down. I know, right? In the 90s. And we talk about lifers, right? And I'm just an avid young lad who just loves Emmett Smith. I'm like, bro, Emmett Smith is a Dallas Cowboy forever. I don't see him wearing any other uniform in my lifetime. Lo and behold, his contract is up. He's old, no longer can produce the numbers, right? All these things come up about his age and his resiliency and his injury rate. And he signs with the Arizona Cardinals. And as a young kid, I was like, my mind was crushed. I didn't understand the ruthlessness of the NFL business. And this is that kind of same kind of moment of understanding that loyalty and all that kind of stuff. It got crushed for me here as someone who's so optimistic about this Triple H TKO type endeavor. Now, my only problem with this is that when the WWE will pivot, like it always can and easily, because it's pro wrestling, baby, anything could happen. All of a sudden, R-Truth could come out of nowhere, right? If they pivot, we cannot give them credit. We cannot go like, see, it was part of the plan this whole time. And maybe it was. And maybe we were getting worked. But that's what I'm trying to say, Santi. It is a diabolical, devious plan to be manipulated this way. But that's what pro wrestling does, man. And if the Triple H era and TKO era have figured a modernized way to play with our emotions, to have us jump at their throats for a move, to execute an R-Truth return to help out Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, bravo, okay? You know, bravo for deceiving us all. M. Night Shyamalan cannot write the deceitful twist like that, okay? I don't see it happening, but I'm hopeful that it could. But hey, R-Truth will find business. R-Truth will find plenty of opportunities. He could ride the Wrestle conventions to the end of his days, and he will continuously have an opportunity to work. Who knows? Maybe he goes to TNA, mixed with the deputy of
oh my god, that combination there. Ron Killings and Santino Marella would be. By the way, he has the rights to his song because he created that song.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? I do find that I could see in the eyes of the other wrestlers that they're not happy. And if you could see them in the more X posts, which I go into that YouTube video in depth a little bit, but CM Punk at the end of Raw goes, wow, how dare you cheer for a name of someone who's not here?
That was a great line.
Right?
People on Twitter, that they completely had that go over their head. They're like, how disrespectful of CM Punk. It's like, do you not understand? The joke is that people chanted for CM Punk's name for 10 years when he was gone. God, man, wrestling fans are so dense sometimes. Not you guys that are listening to this. You guys are enlightened.
You guys are great.
You guys are five-brained individuals.
oh, you put in that meme with the exploding brain. But in truth, and going into not only R-Truth departure, Carlito's departure, I think that's like when I was making that video, I was like, this is a different situation. Carlito feels different.
Yeah, I agree.
Carlito, it was literally ejected, like, thrown out the door with no kind of pomp and circumstance, because there is rumors that he broke the internal rules according to the Dave Metzler, that he was supposed to not say that he was not going to resign because he was literally involved with the Judgment Day storyline, especially the love interest of Raquel, or the kind of swirling like annoyance of Raquel Rodriguez, and then there was no payoff for that. So he's literally just gone. Like, his PlayStation's not there. He's not even in the clubhouse anymore. There's no mention of Carlito.
Dom wore his shirt. Did you see that?
Dom wore his shirt because he's a G. He's a certified G, and he's a certified G, and you can't teach that. But yeah,
you butchered that.
I did. I miss Enzo and Cass. This is the same thing for them. Were they ever
it's bona fide stud. That's the one you couldn't remember.
Certified G. Sort.
I like how you said that. I'm a certified G, and yeah, I'm a certified G.
You gotta go with it, brother. You gotta go with it.
Yeah, the Carlito situation is very different. I also don't think that they're comparable, right? Carlito was there for 2 years. Was just doesn't have the same legacy as R-Truth in the WWE anymore. If we're just being like frank and honest here,
but he was being actively used though.
That's the thing too, right? That's what scares me. You know, these are two guys that are being actively used. Brother, if you're in catering not being used and your contract is coming up, I'd be updating my LinkedIn, updating my resume. Because if they're not re-signing talent that they're actually actively using, Braun Strowman, R-Truth, Carlito, there's rumors of the freaking Miz now being not renewed. That's a scary, scary prospect that you need to start locking down these multi-year deals. You need to start negotiating like well in advance before your deal ends so that this doesn't happen to you.
Apollo Crews hasn't been used in a while. I know he's coming off an injury, I think. I mean, there's just a lot of these situations. And what I dislike that WWE fans do is like, oh, why don't you get rid of Natalia instead?
That's so dumb, right? That's so stupid.
That's not the point we're trying to make. We're trying to make that, in theory, based on what's being told, that there's record-making numbers that they could afford everybody. But what this tells me as well, and like we like to be here, it's early in wrestling is cool, is big names are coming in, and they're making plans to sign bigger names as well, because AEW contracts are up, and they have to re-sign Cody, right? Cody Rhodes needs to be re-signed, and he's going to demand a big number. If they're going to have to re-sign all the other big names, again, I've said this previously in the podcast, the AEW is waiting to make a big splash. They have the money, and they know they can make a big splash, and they could take somebody away. And WWE does not want that. They don't want the pendulum to go back the other way on their biggest names. They don't want Cody Rhodes to leave, and I don't think Cody would ever leave, but they don't want the possibility that not only for Cody to entertain them to leave, but for AEW to jack up that price and be like, all right, you want Cody Rhodes? You're going to have to pay for Cody Rhodes because we're going to give him an offer that he could seriously go, wait a minute, that's a lot. That's generational money, not only for me, but my kids and kids' generation. So WWE understands this. So they have to be kind of lean going into these situations, especially with Cody Rhodes coming around the corner soon.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've heard rumors that they're offering big money to Mariah May to come to the WWE.
Right.
And then, of course, wrestling fans are now blaming Mariah May as the reason why R-Truth got let go. Like these things don't necessarily have to coincide with one another. It's not A then B, right? It's not as simple as that, right? I'd be very curious to hear the logic to not re-sign R-Truth specifically. I feel like there's a much easier, understandable case to be made specifically for Carlito. It's the R-Truth one where I'm like, dude, how are we not taking advantage of what's there? Like the literal wealth of knowledge that this guy has amassed over the last 17 years with the WWE. It's just sad to see him go too, so unceremoniously as well. And yeah, like we alluded to before, this is the TKO era. This is the dollars, numbers, decimals, and cents era of professional wrestling, as opposed to the good TV, crowd favorites, or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is going to be the most important thing. And it always has been the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's always been a business. But it's always felt to me, before TKO took over, like they were trying to impact the bottom line with good storytelling, with good talent, with good matches. Did they fail at that sometimes? Sure, absolutely. But it always felt like that was how they were trying to impact the bottom line. Now it feels like the bottom line is impacting stories and impacting our TV watching experience. It's like we've turned it upside down, unfortunately. Now it's so like, dude, commentary's trying to sell me something every 10 minutes, it feels. Whether it's selling me the new Tyrese Halliburton shirt. Why? Like, why is that a thing? Cash App being mentioned every 5 minutes. Like, it feels like we are in a different dollars-driven narrative TV era, and that's going to be good for the long-term business of TKO and WWE, absolutely. But I feel like slowly but surely, the product is no longer going to be for the me and yous of the world. It's going to be for lowest common denominator moving forward. I feel like within 10 years, the market that WWE and TKO is going to target is the market that watches Saturday night's main event on primetime, not the people that watch Raw and SmackDown weekly and are hardcore fans.
You know what's interesting? That this is an opportunity, and I'm not... AEW has a shot here. Mm-hmm. There's a chance to get back into where AEW was.
Blood in the water.
Because, right. It's the winds of change, right? AEW pushed WWE so hard that WWE had to change its trajectory and how it did business. And then when AEW, which, if you had to think about it, AEW was on pace to possibly do what WCW did, to overturn the ratings war. They already did it with NXT, and they were knocking on the other doors, right? They had big splashes. Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, right? Boom. Already moving them forward. And unfortunately, the management over there, the locker room wasn't cohesive enough. It lacked a veteranship leader, aka an R-Truth type, to be able to maintain that locker room. Imagine if CM Punk never left AEW, and these were the kinds of things that slowly started to happen with WWE, you would say that AEW is becoming a very attractive, fan-friendly place to enjoy wrestling. I got a taste of it when I saw AEW in Austin, Texas for $40. And I'm like, oh my God, $40 for top tier pro wrestling? And people are like, top tier pro wrestling? I don't know about that.
AEW All Out in Toronto, front row seats were $1,500. Now that's expensive because that's a Toronto market. But that's Toronto expensive market show, WWE in that same building, that's $9,000. That's what it was for the last Toronto show. That's what it was for Elimination Chamber. That's what it was for Money in the Bank the previous year. So it's even like the premium experiences are a lot more fan friendly in AEW.
And that's why I think the WWE understands that it needs to snuff out AEW as fast as it can, because the more business decisions it makes, who knows, dude? WrestleMania in the Saudis, right? On a different time zone, completely from a majority of the viewership, could change some of that goodwill nature. Now, again, the Saudi crowd definitely getting better. The wrestling over there is growing, so wouldn't be a bad thing for the entire world. But in terms of the optics of it, there's so many things that we still don't know where WrestleMania is going to be. They haven't announced that. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, they've not announced it. No,
they haven't announced it yet. So there's so many things that AEW can do to push the narrative forward if they could just get out of their own way, right? Just get out of your own way. Every now and then, I know that AEW is trying to it's like trying to shove water out of the ship when AEW wrestlers come up and say, hey, this is a great place. Like every now and then, all of a sudden, like 5 or 10, 15 tweets at the same time come out about let's really talk about the morality, the morale here at
Hey,
AEW.
bruv, we do wrestling battle here in AEW.
and then Golda or Dustin Rhodes says the same, like, okay, guys, or we get it. The memo was sent out from the company. I totally get it. But as a fan here, I'm starting to go like, all right, what's happening? I'm looking at the other side of the fence, Santi. I hear the party. Like, wait a minute. They got loud music over there. They got crazy shenanigans, some crazy stunts over there. They got some new debuts over there. What's going on over there? And for the longest time, at least in the WrestleMania 39 like build, I was like, I'm happy chilling over here with WWE. But now they're telling me to keep it down. They're telling me to dress up a little bit, to be on time. You know what I mean?
Have you ever heard the story of Pablo Escobar's parties in Colombia? The parties that he would throw. There's something here, right? So
for the people that don't know, Santi's Colombia.
Yeah, I'm from Colombia. So Pablo Escobar was a generally poor person. That's where he grew up. So he grew up in like poor street parties. That's where people would party. The man became a multi-billionaire in his drug empire, and
nefarious ways.
In nefarious ways. And then his parties would change. The parties changed from having traditional poor people Colombian food that became the staple of Colombian cuisine to having caviar at his parties, having champagne and whatnot. And people stopped showing up to his parties because they were lame. They weren't Colombian. They didn't have the right vibe anymore. So then all of a sudden this billionaire was forced to change his street parties to have the traditional poor people food that was more what people came to love, people came to expect out of parties, block parties, neighborhood parties in Colombia. And I fear that we might be getting into the caviar era of TKO here, and maybe over in AEW, they're serving the empanadas, they're serving the fried foods that you would expect in your traditional neighborhood parties. And I'm looking over here, I look at my plate of fancy friggin' caviar and filleted salmon or whatever, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but like, where's the empanadas right now? And they're over in AEW seemingly. Told you there was a comparison.
You would have crashed the party, dude. You would have get back over there. You would
have like, hey, can I come to the carne asada AEW?
What a couple of white claws. You want a little coronas go over there. I think maybe that's where Worlds Collide comes in, to recapture that spirit, that like pro wrestling spirit. I mean, TNA still has. I think TNA is a great mix of AEW and WWE. It's like the perfect cross pollination of all that. But like I said, if I was AEW, I would be like, ooh, I see a weakness in the armor. There is something there that we could exploit and kind of present ourselves as the fan experience, so to speak. Because what is WWE's fan experience? And I will pick up on your thought. The fanatic experience, right? Pay, money if you want to be part of this. So interesting things. The AEW could be the Savannah Bananas of the pro wrestling world.
Let's put this in the context of gaming. How did the Xbox 360 take over after the PS2's giant success, after its global mega sales? How did the 360 end up taking over, Sancho?
I mean, they leaned on a lot of third party, right? But they were the champion of third party of Madden and Call of Duty.
Yeah, and PS3 was so arrogant. They're like,
it was so expensive,
$700.
Yeah. It looked expensive too. It was so exotic and sleek, and it was a big mammoth thing. Yeah.
The cell, what was it? The cell drive,
cell processor,
the cell processor, Blu-ray, and then all of a sudden, this machine you were expected to pay $700 when you fell in love with your PS2 that was like $200, and in came Xbox 360. The new player in town. They weren't around for multiple generations of gaming systems, and they took over by becoming fan friendly. How did the PS4 take over? The Xbox did the damn same thing and stopped focusing on the things that worked for fans, the things that fans fell in love with. They became too corporate. Live TV, partnerships with the NBA, all online. Of this stuff, always online. And then they lost the fight to the consumer friendly PS4. Do you remember how the PS4 said, here's how you can trade games with your friends? They literally did a 2-second commercial of you handing physically a game, when in Xbox it was this whole confusing thing. Listen, consumer friendly practices over little periods of time accumulate and can help you win in the long term. And I think that's the window that AEW has right now, to be as consumer friendly as possible. You want to be consumer friendly, man? Do what the Savannah Bananas do. Subsidize merchandising and subsidize food at the arenas to make it cheap, make it a family friendly experience where I can take 3 of my kids, my whole family, to the show, eat food there, have some drinks, enjoy a wrestling show, and not have to do an entire freaking mortgage payment like you need to do in WWE. So the window is there for AEW to become really fan and consumer friendly. Will they? I don't know, but the window is there, and it was a window that was unforcefully opened by WWE and TKO themselves. No one opened this window except them.
Was it that Magnus, the big chess guy?
Yeah.
Lost because he blundered at the end?
He blundered, brother. That was a big deal. Huge deal.
Huge. He didn't want to put that guy over.
No. Magnus walked away and be like, oh, you got me good, brother.
The tombstone on Magnus.
For all his faults, man, Hulk Hogan has delivered some fantastic memes to this community. All right, let's maybe change the narrative a little bit. Let's be a little bit more optimistic here. We see some people obviously leaving the WWE in recent months, but we are seeing a wave of NXT call-ups that, Sancho, this might be the greatest call-up wave in the history of the WWE. Seriously, man. What are you still laughing at?
Magnus is
my rook, you got me good, brother. The greatest call-up wave potentially in the history of the WWE. Let's list them out. We've already got Roxanne Perez, who already had an amazing showing at Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, and is in one of the marquee summer feuds. Fraxium already being inserted and being quickly crowd favorites within a very beloved and cherished tag team division on Friday Night SmackDown. We now have Stephanie Vaquer being called up, Jordan Grace being called up, Julia being called up, which I think is perfect timing for that U.S. Championship division that desperately needs somebody like a Julia. We have Ricky Saints apparently about to be called up as well. And like when I look, Jordan Grace, I don't know if I mentioned her, but yeah, Jordan Grace is getting called up. Like, dude, this is a fantastic NXT pool that is being added to the main roster here. And I know I've heard that, like, hey, maybe this is some of the reasons why they're shuffling out talent that they're not using, not re-signing talent as well. Fair enough. You know, you can't have TV time for everybody. When I look at this NXT wave, man, I'm just so optimistic. Not just because of the talent that's there, but just the way that the ones that are already there, how they're being used. They aren't just like a Blair Davenport where they'll appear for a week, they'll make a name for themselves, win a match, and then disappear. All of them so far have been inserted into things that could be long-term storylines, long-term feuds. They're already teasing future matches like Julia going after the U.S. Championship. Already huge votes of confidence by having the 3 call-ups from the women's division being inserted into the women's Money in the Bank. One of them being after one day of being called up in Stephanie Vaquer. We have Fraxium probably just a match or 2 away from becoming the tag team champions of what is arguably the greatest tag team division in all of professional wrestling right now. This is just a breath of fresh air. Being somebody that's seen NXT Wave call-up after NXT Wave call-up just fail, blunder, not be used, get released, end up in the indies, end up in AEW, whatever it might be, it is just nice to finally see WWE using their own resources to the maximum level like they are right now with NXT call-ups in 2025.
I'm often asked, like, what would make my perfect day? You know, is it streaming and then making content? And I think if you would ask Triple H and Shawn Michaels, what is your perfect NXT call-up? I think this is it. This is the formula they want to emulate as much as they can. Get their product, NXT product, out early, get them involved in storylines so that way they could build on, like you said so eloquently. I think what works really well is that the only thing is that when Stephanie Vaquer wins immediately debuting, you don't feel slighted because she debuted kind of with Io Sky, right? She went up against the best to prove that she could go the distance, or she could kind of meet bell for bell almost against Io Sky, the current champion. And they did such a great job of protecting her in NXT. And what's so great is that it doesn't feel like a start and stop for NXT's call-ups. I think that was the biggest sins with Vince McMahon era and in that relationship between Triple H and Vince McMahon, is that there wasn't no congruency between the two. It felt like they didn't really talk to each other. You literally had Karrion Kross being built up as a strong champion, and then, oh, let me make you a gladiator, pal. Like all of a sudden, it made no sense, right? They stripped away everything that made Karrion Kross who he was. And you don't have to worry about that anymore. I think that ghost has been put to rest, has been exercised. So now the NXT guy or gal could say, whatever I work on here in NXT won't be completely thrown away when I get up to the main roster. There was concerns for me about Roxy. When Roxy debuted, she had a great showing, and then she showed up at Royal Rumble, went all the way to the end, the longest one standing there, got eliminated by Charlotte, and then showing up at Chamber, and then she just disappeared. But now she's in a very prominent position. The thing about the only one that I was worried for, and then they tossed a lifeline, I think, and the perfect timing for her was Julia. I thought Julia was going to kind of fade away to the background, almost like a Nakamura, where, she's going to be I like the call of the Beautiful Madness. They're using that moniker very well. And without a faction like Damage Control or anyone of the kind of who could kind of put her underneath her wing, she was just going to fade away like Nakamura. But no, they actually made her go after gold early. And it's so interesting to me that so many people thought, let's look at Jacob Fatu, right? Jacob Fatu could have easily gone the NXT route, like a Solo Sikoa, but did it. I think if Jacob Fatu went through NXT and got, went through that thing and then debuted, I don't know if he would be just as big as Impact, but I think that there would be congruency between Jacob Fatu at quote unquote NXT and who he is now. Like there wouldn't be any kind of huge difference between the two. He's a world beater essentially. But I don't know if this is the greatest call up. I mean, you have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, right? They went very, very far. Granted, they won't call up together, but still, I think those are the guys you look at are the quintessential NXT call up to find success on the main roster is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
You're listing the Hall of Famers, right?
Right, exactly.
Those are the guys that when I'm an NXT call-up, that's the career I want to have.
Sure.
I look at the people that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, even though they weren't called up at the same time together, like the people that they were called up with, and there isn't this way, like this strong of a rookie class. Like they didn't come up with as strong of a rookie class here.
Are you saying like a LeBron's rookie class? Like
that's man,
comparing it
that's
this generation.
A great example. I think that this might be that LeBron James 0203 rookie class that had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo. Was Chris Bosh in that one too? I think he might have been. Either way, insane.
Darko.
Oh yeah, let's not forget good old Darko number 2 pick. I don't think Chris Paul was in that one. But anyways, I think this might be the best rookie class. Could they fall on their face? Could they suck? Could they not get booked? Could they get, booked into oblivion? It's possible. But the first signs are very healthy. And what I'm saying is that I haven't seen this healthy of signs for this big a group of rookies on the main roster as I have with this. Now, mind you, many of these that have been called up, one of the interesting things is that they're not rookies. A-Kid, aka Axiom, that's not a rookie. That guy's been around for plenty of time, cooking in the indies. Stephanie Vacher, older than like a Rhea Ripley, and been wrestling for longer than a Rhea Ripley. Julia, megastar outside of here. If we get Ricky Saints, we already know his story in AEW. I don't even need to mention if they were to bring up Ethan Page this year as well. If they bring up Ethan Page this year, there's no denying this is the greatest rookie class ever, for sure. And maybe that's part of it, right? Jordan Grace, that's not a rookie. That's somebody that's been fighting at a high level in professional wrestling for a long time. And I think that it's that perfect storm, right? Because NXT was getting banger signing after banger signing after banger signing, but many of them were already known commodities somewhere else. And WWE just said, hey, why are we holding on to these? Like, let's utilize these. Let's put them up on the main roster. And I think it's that perfect storm of call-ups, of actual NXT graduates, of people coming from other promotions being called up at the same time that's going to make this the greatest NXT call-up class of all time.
Do you think that? Man, I just had this fleeting thought on. I just lost it because I was thinking of Shiloh Hill and his creepy pasta post. You heard of Shiloh
Of
Hill?
course, I know.
Oh, God.
Shiloh Hill's creepypasta conspiracy videos. I love them.
Dude, that could work as a really cool gimmick. Yeah, dude, Ethan Page, man, I'm hoping that happens sooner than later, because you could just tell like his time in NXT is what else can you do there?
He's not at all. He's not at all.
Yeah, you're just you're a camp counselor just dominating out there in the sports. You know what I mean?
Just out there. He's Santi in that dodgeball tournament I told you last episode.
You just got time to move on. But yeah, I'm all for it. I'm very excited for it. I think what's interesting to me going into this, looking at the draft class, if you were to ask me who was my number one pick, it would be a Jordan Grace. But now it's clear to me that it's Stephanie Vaquer, and I think as well that WWE realizes that, because they just literally just put it on the screen with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
and already people are like, "Oh, that's a media lock it in." Like, whoa, that's a pretty bold jump. But yeah, man, there is that aura between the two of them already, that chemistry that it's going to work so well for them.
I think Stephanie Vaquer gives WWE something that Jordan Grace can't. And that is a foothold in a market that no one has been able to really break into on like mainstream level, which is South America.
Since Ray. Yeah, since Ray.
Well, nobody like Ray.
It's South America. Yeah,
South America. So like
Yes.
Brazil, right? One of the most populated countries on the planet, or the Argentina, Chile, Colombia. That whole continent has not really been conquered by any wrestling organization. And I think Stephanie Vaquer is what gives WWE that foothold to say, maybe we do Backlash Rio. Maybe we do Bad Blood Santiago, Chile. It gives them the opportunity to step into a market in a way, kind of like how the NFL is trying, right? They're trying to step into South America. They're trying to do NFL Europe. I could see we're seeing it with WWE, right? Creating that footprint in Mexico, about to relaunch NXT UK, partnering with Noah. Wouldn't be surprised if we get NXT Asia sometime soon. South America is a prime market that has not been able to be tapped. And a lot of North American traditional sports are trying to get in there now. And now that TKO, by the way, has a huge foothold there with UFC. UFC is huge in places like Brazil. So now a combination of having a Stephanie Vaquer, the TKO machine, their UFC connection, this might be what breaks WWE into South America.
But it's so different from a Vince McMahon kind of imperialism or colonization, so to speak. Because they got into India, and who's your champion, brother?
Canadian Jinder Mahal.
That's what I mean. It doesn't feel so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Clear, right? It feels very in the shadows and the way business should be done. And I think what TKO gets in trouble is when they show their hand so early and let you know what their plans are. Like, but I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm just hoping, everything goes smooth as the planned that they have here for all these NXT people. And it's, it's
it won't. The route, something will falter. Something will falter.
Like Sami Zayn, his route to getting to where he went through John Cena, and it's cool that it doesn't have to rely on one superstar putting somebody over, a la a Rhea Ripley, right? Stephanie Vaquer could get there on her own without a Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm very optimistic when it comes to that. And I wanted to talk about some of our optimism as opposed to a lot of the pessimism that we started this episode with.
It was we got to report the news, One thing I want to point to is like we go beyond though. Like, let's be clear. We're just not reacting to tweets and matches and making predictions. We were here early telling you, wait a minute. You need to slow down and really think about, is this a Triple H era? Okay. We always are a little bit a step higher, the nebulous, and we're just fans. I don't have access to any dirt sheets. I don't buy anything like that. I just look at the same thing y'all look at.
Same thing. Yeah, it's just a fan-driven discussion based on what we have in front of us. That's all. That's what it is. All right. Well, speaking of fan-driven discussions, you created a big one, trying to figure out what Seth Rollins' faction name would be. So I want to give you the rock here and run with it, because this was a big post that you made, and you got a lot of suggestions here.
I have. It started with naming Braun Breakers and Bronson Reed What'd you think of the wah, 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 and then Braun Breaker thing? Man?
I thought
It was cool at first, but then when it kept going backward, I was like, wait a minute, you're just fading back and forth.
they're just going back and forth. At least it's two good themes, as opposed to making one bad one that I would expect WWE to do.
And did they do a stinger with Paul Heyman going, "Ladies and gentlemen," and then he just walked out without a microphone? I was like, wait a minute, is that your producer tag?
Oh no! I hope that's not a producer tag, ladies and gentlemen, and then just Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker come out. I thought that we were going to get a new theme, a new entrance, and I've thought obviously for a couple of weeks now that we were going to get a new faction name. I thought for sure last week, I think it was, that we were going to get a new faction name, but then we didn't. Sure. So where are you in the crowd and the people when it comes to a new faction name?
The people. Well, it's not on the same level as AEW's MJF's and Adam Cole blending of the themes.
Oh yeah.
That was sick because they did the MJF. They go, "You know what's up?"
Yeah, that was sick.
I was like, ooh.
That was sick.
All right. I'm going to go to my Twitter, @sanchowest, if you want to drop a follow. Because I often do these during Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I'll just like post things throughout the night, memes and whatnot. But this one got some good traction. So I want to read yours replies to my Twitter. And I just wanted to go right through them, Santi. And then you and I are going to work on a Seth Rollins factioning. This is for the Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. We have Big and Bad from Ref Kentucky, UWF.
Okay.
J&J Security from Erwin Black. We have Dog and Pig.
Oh, wow.
Jesus. We have The Body Snatchers from Joey Stein Comedy. Braun Squared from Dave in the RC. The Brawnies from RC. A lot of Brawnies talk. A lot of pictures of LeBron
legendary
James'
player.
son.
Legendary player.
The Brawnies. Slam DM says The Doghouse.
Why? Okay.
All
These
right.
are all terrible, by the way, so far.
Oh, yeah, we're just going. Crowd pops and curse words. 4 straps, 2 dudes. Meat. We have Braun and Braun's son, like Braun's son. Braun Squared. We have Prime Rib, Beef Boys. We have Disaster Hounds.
Disaster Hounds I like, right? Because of the tsunami being a disaster. That's from Disaster Hounds.
It's from King Tay and CB1. We have Tsunami Dogs.
I mean, that's just a worse version of the one you just said.
Well, okay. That's from
Disaster Hounds, Tsunami Dogs.
We have Break the Brawn Down from Dustin Scales. We got Breaking Reed from... You're terminated.
Jesse!
We have, let's see, the Meat and Dog Connection. Uzi Visionary. And I'm just going to keep going down. We have Braun and Braun Inc. Not bad. Braun Stars.
No, I get it. Like in the Monstars. What is that movie called again?
Space Jam
is the one. Movie.
And the final one I'm going to give here from the people of the X community, we have where was it? The Bronze Age.
Yeah, by far all of them are terrible. The exception of what was it? Disaster
Hounds.
That one's kind of badass, actually. Disaster Hounds. I can vibe with that.
Now, time to name the faction of Seth Rollins. And Santi, a lot of people are like, oh, there's a lot of AI stuff here. Just because we asked the Immortal, we would have got to the Immortal Snail without AI. Okay,
of course.
That is how AI works. We take their trash that AI spits out, and then we give you the Immortal Snail Hogan. Okay, but that is the
AI could not have come up with the Immortal Snail.
Immortal Snail Hogan. All right, it's just to let you know that humans still run this world temporarily for now. For now. The Seth Rollins faction name that I came up with, The Vision.
I think that's like the most obvious one. Yeah, The Vision. You didn't come up with that.
I did.
Everyone's been saying The Vision. Mostly because they've been saying The Vision. You didn't come up with anything.
I went into my own bubble and I put it The Vision.
You got CAI psyoped. You got made to believe that you came up with that.
The Kool-Aid. I drink it. But I think The Vision is a strong faction name for this.
Sure.
They're dressed in black. They have a vibe. The freaking Seth Rollins looks like Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix, draped in that trench coat, or he looks like that one guy. He hurt you, didn't he?
I know what you're talking about. Most of our listeners do not know what you're talking about, but I know. Sancho DMs me this guy like once every 3 weeks. Why did you flinch? He hurts you, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? Oh, let the dragon without. So I think the vision, which is my name, and if it comes out, then Sancho was right. The vision. Any other names that you want to go with?
There's the future. They talk so much about the future. I mean, that's just a worse version of the vision, because a vision is a thing that you see that's a future.
You have to think about it, though. The SEO of vision is tough.
That's true.
Really, MCU vision really is a factor. And you know that WWE does, again, we only go off based on what we know. WWE cares about SEO and copywriting, because that's why we have the Viking experience.
That's
you
true.
Couldn't be called the Viking because of the show and the team.
A fly has snuck into my office, and it's pissing me off, man. This fly Hogan over here trying to do your podcast. That's just not gonna work for me, brother.
It's Sami Zayn, dude. You know, hey, you're about to do something important. Let me remind you. When he came out with CM Punk, I'm like, why?
Yeah, I thought he didn't like CM Punk.
Why? And I don't. You know what I don't like is what they do with baby faces these days. Is like, after you're done with that, I'm gonna be waiting for you, and we're gonna have a match. We're friends now, but later on, when this is done, brother, I'm gonna be waiting for you. All right, Sammy. All right. Okay, but I did like when Karrion Kross was like, "Hey,
you're a bad guy.
You're not a good guy.
Yeah.
You're a bad guy, Sammy."
He has a bad guy history. That's for sure. That's how he became popular. You know, being a bad guy.
And one day you'll see. Do that intense thing that Karrion does. He's like friendly, and then he gets.
And he exposes his teeth with every word.
Yeah. What do you mean, Santi? The vision is the psyops. Help it make sense.
It make sense. Everyone thinks that my Jesse Ventura sounds like Bernie the Body Sanders now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the immortal Still Hogan versus Bernie the Body Sanders.
I have to kill this fly. I have a fly swatter.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Santi versus the fly. Ladies and gentlemen, someone put some like theme music underneath this. I'm thinking some classic Benny Hill. And he has. Why don't you use your yeet hands, bro? Use the yeet hands. There we go. Come on. Use a title belt like John Cena. Bam!
I have a fly swatter somewhere in here.
Well, this might work. Yeet. Someone add a yeet every time.
All right. Well, I don't. Did I get it?
You did.
I genuinely don't see it anymore.
I think you did it, dude. Or the temptation of the yeet ad.
4 letters, 1 word. Dead. I'll have this here just in case. Right, just in case it no-sells me. If it tries to no-sell me, brother.
The one kick out.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Oh,
no, we bring the entertainment factor. What other podcast can you see one of the co-hosts using yeet foam hands to kill a fly?
I don't know.
It's still alive. It no-sold me, brother. It no-sold me.
Oh, the machino on the fly. The fly is coming in.
I missed it. It kicked out. It'll be back.
Oh, no.
It'll be back.
The big hand. You're like the great Khali, dude, with your stupid hand chops. So you have no other name for Seth Rollins?
I like the vision, the future. That's pretty much all I can come up with. Did you come up with anything else?
I was set on the vision, and then that's it. And then you're like, oh, that's not your brain. So
no, you got CIA PSYOP, brother. That's probably gonna end up. This is the name that makes the most sense, in my opinion. That's what they should go with.
It can't be anything. They need
a name. To clarify, they need one. They can't not have one. That's it. Anyways,
it can't be anything Heyman related, right?
The Heyman Express. Choo choo.
The Heymanites, the Heymanamians.
We're gonna move on from this topic. Worlds collide. I like
that.
If you are looking for our predictions of Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank, it should already be up on the Patreon. If you're listening to this on YouTube, it should have already been uploaded to YouTube a couple of days ago, so have a look on the channel. But we were talking about how like Worlds Collide doesn't feel too Worlds Collide-y, aside from the fact that it's got WWE people and AAA people. And I think in your brain, you wanted a Worlds Collide, not just in terms of brand, but in terms of styles, right? We wanted a clash of styles, because it right now does feel like Worlds Collide is, okay, you're in AAA and you're a luchador. Okay, let us find our luchadors and put it in a show. So there, it's a lucha show featuring Ethan Page. I feel like Ethan Page is the only one that kind of brings that feeling of a different style of professional wrestling into this show. But aside from that, obviously we have Los Garzas in this, or Legado. We have LWO that's going to be part of this match. I heard that Joaquin Wilde got injured, so we'll have to see if he's part of this match still.
Knocked out.
Yeah, Stephanie Vaca being a luchadora. What else is there? Adding Ray Phoenix to this. Javon Evans isn't a luchador, but he's a high flyer.
Lola Vice, you're Latina.
You're Latina, so get in here. So it feels like they were just trying to mirror match the AAA talent, as opposed to like creating a clash of styles. I feel like that was your concern.
Is Rey Mysterio hosting it? Has to be, right?
I think he's got to be on the show somehow, in some way, shape, or form. Maybe he'll be in commentary.
Bienvenidos. Welcome.
And then I welcomed everybody to Worlds Collide.
That's the showcase you have to do in 2K26.
Ooh.
You have to be those. You got to hit the hot buttons. They got to time map it. Still, if you're still an audio listening, Santi is still hunting down this fly.
Where's that fly?
Where's that flyery, dude?
Yeah, flyery.
It's getting there. Dude, the fly comes from you, dude. Do you have like trash there?
I think Sarah left the door open and...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Little trash panda in there. Worlds Collide, what I wanted to want with Worlds Collide was more of a Forbidden Door vibe. I thought they were going to have these clashing of all the variety of different wrestling styles coming together. And if you really think about it, it's right there. Like, this would have been a great thing for Damian Priest to do after beating Drew McIntyre, is to have Damian Priest go, hey, I want to fight one of the best in AAA that's not Vikingo, and let's have a match. I think that would have been sick, because, remember Damian was tapping his toe into the lucha moveset until he got tangled in the ropes against Drew McIntyre at Clash. that was the
most ridiculous botch I've ever seen in my life. I'm laughing about it because he didn't get hurt.
He didn't get hurt.
Because he didn't get hurt. So now we can laugh, because that was hilarious.
And then Drew was like, they got nothing else to do here, but hit you. But I thought, imagine that on SmackDown, rather than calling up Jacob Fatu, and I'm like, no. No wepa. Lepa. I thought that would not have been a proper thing for Damian Priest to call the baddest dude in AAA, which I don't know who that is, but that would have been Alberto Del Rio. That would have been a very interesting track for Damian Priest and to appear there, considering that he kind of has that. I know he's Puerto Rican, but he has that backlash Puerto Rican still kind of aura about him, and I feel like the WWE's never really. That's been peak Damian almost. If you really think about it, heel for Bad Bunny. And I know they haven't really recaptured that. Even though he became a world champion after that, it still hasn't been that level of oomph for Damian Priest ever since he was the heel for Bad Bunny. And this could have been that opportunity to not only have Damian Priest as a big name in the Worlds Collide PLE, but also have him reintroduced into the Mexican market and another Latin audience. I think that would have been awesome, because he's different. He's big. He's tall. He has a different moveset. And he would have been a great talent to send down to AAA every now and then, and especially for Triple Mania.
I'd agree. I would have liked to see a bit more of a clashing of styles, as opposed to, hey, luchadors versus luchadors. Because I don't know, like if I wanted to see luchadors versus luchadors, I would just tune in to AAA. I
Right.
want to see the AAA style versus the WWE style, when the WWE style is not lucha libre. So it doesn't feel like Worlds Collide. It feels like a AAA show that just happens to have some WWE people in it for the most part.
Mhm.
The Chad Gable thing, that feels a bit more Worlds Collide, even though Chad Gable has been kind of in that ecosystem now for the last couple of months, learning lucha libre and whatnot. In Ethan Page, like that to me is the fun one, right? He feels like a fish out of water. He is surrounded by people who are going to be flying all over the place, and he's a ground and pound type of wrestler. That is a really, really unique environment to put somebody in. That would have been cool to see. It would have been cool to see a high flyer versus like an Obafemi or something like that. How does Obafemi, this monster of a man, deal with somebody that is a quarter of his size, but is going to be all around them, flying all over the place? It's a change of pace for an Obafemi. So I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity in that regard, but I'm also excited for the show, even if it is a bunch of like 6-man tag matches. That is the norm in AAA, by the way. There's a ton of 6-man tag matches, because it's a way to introduce everybody. Like, I can't wait to see Mr. Iguana. What's Mr. Iguana all about? All right, I want to see what that lizard dude can do.
There's a wrestler in their roster, and he's American, but his name's Sam Adonis. He's a 6-footer. That would have been a really cool guy to have him go up against Damian Priest, just to give Damian Priest like a thing. I mean, he's been in Mexico. He's currently in Japan. He's in Major League Wrestling, as he had a debut against Jacob Fatu. I mean, he looks great. He's a 6'4", dude.
That would have been a perfect for a Damian. But then again, that's not clashing of styles.
I know, but you know what it is at the end of the day? I'm just trying to give El Campeon some positive boost.
I think you just don't like lucha libre. I think that's what I'm gathering from this.
Oh, no.
Sancho hates lucha.
Boom, boom, boom. No, I really do believe that Damian Priest going after Jacob Fatu, I think that's the crutch, the center of this segment here, is that Damian Priest going after Jacob Fatu is not the play. Put him on some more side quests. Let him marinate a little bit. Let him come get back some goodwill. And I
want that Wepa aura to come back.
I want that Wepa, the Wepa king, dude. The 4 letters.
Wepa. All right. How about somebody else? Let's look at Naomi here for a second. Naomi is in the Money in the Bank, but I would like to make I would like to make the argument that Naomi could be, if booked correctly, on the track to being the top women's heel, not just in WWE, but maybe arguably professional wrestling.
That's a wild, bold statement.
Yeah, I understand. Pal. It is a wild,
favorite
bold
wrestler, Z is Zelina, pal.
I look at WWE. Who would you qualify as the top heel right now? Maybe like Liv Morgan, probably the top heel in the WWE. But even her right now, I feel like she's on a fast track to turning babyface with this feud with Roxanne Perez.
She's a tag team.
I know, that's the thing. There's no like main event like threat evil heel in the women's division at all in the WWE right now. Over on SmackDown, what is it? It's Nia Jax, maybe. She's kind of like the world beater of the women's division. That's not particularly that exciting. When I look at AEW, the top women's heel right now is Mercedes Moné, but she's almost a heel for all the worst reasons because she doesn't lose. I don't think that they've created this compelling character out of Mercedes Moné where I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that what a fantastic heel to root against. You know, I feel like it's just people getting tired of Mercedes Moné. That's the reason people are booing her, and I don't think that that's a particularly compelling heel. I look at TNA, their top heel is Tessa Blanchard for all the wrong reasons. You know, for all of the wrong reasons right now, Tessa Blanchard is the top heel in TNA. Naomi right now, with this new change of character, if booked right, has entered into a building that has a ceiling much higher than she has ever been a part of. She could be catapulted to being the top heel in the WWE. And with this character, depending on the storyline beats, depending on the things and dastardly things that she does, could become the top women's heel in all of professional wrestling right now, specifically now that Toni Storm is a babyface. It's there. It's there for the taking. Giving her Money in the Bank is the best way to do that right now. Having her beat up Bianca Belair and even come out on top of Jade Cargill is a great way to continue to cement that. But they found it. They found something now with Naomi. And I just sincerely hope that WWE has the wherewithal to actually fan that flame and do something with it, because a character like Naomi in the WWE is desperately needed. They don't have an evil heel female like a Naomi right now that we desperately, desperately need. What are your thoughts?
I think the WWE had an opportunity to make her more dastardly. I know she pushed Jade out into the car, and it felt, of course it's theatrical, right? But I wanted to hear more about Jade's injury. I wanted to know, the possible brain damage she did, the hours and months. It felt like Jade got injured and they didn't talk about her recovery at all, right? It wasn't in her mind. Remember, that was the criticism we had about Jade Cargill's disappearances, they weren't keeping her fresh. Whereas look at Bianca Belair, she's still around. She's out there, doing vignettes. My point is, even commentary could have talked about Jade Cargill's recovery at the medical facility type of vibes to build up Naomi's eventual reveal that she is the mastermind behind it all. So I think Naomi, if you want to do this, Santi, if you want to crown her the most dastardly women's top heel of all of wrestling, she needs to do more heinous things than just win Money in the Bank, right? She needs to put people out of commission. She needs to take out Maxine Dupree, which, those are the things you need to do. I don't think she'll ever top Mariah May as the one that kind of took the wrestling by storm, literally by hitting the heel in Toni Storm's head. That was oh my God, I never seen anything like that in women's wrestling. In terms of a traditional route of being a heel, I think Naomi does have that chance, but it requires so much to go her way. She needs to be given a lot. It wouldn't be an organic rise. Does that make sense?
I liked I like the little seeds that they're planting, that she broke into Bianca's home. You know what would have been cool? Has she filmed herself in there and they showed that on the Titantron.
Yes.
So the opportunities are there, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying that the opportunity is there to make it happen, but I'm not convinced that WWE will hit all of the right notes to actually do it, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. They've historically just not pulled the trigger on somebody like Naomi in the past, and I'm hoping that this great run as a heel is what makes WWE give Naomi a chance to sink or swim. Give her the best possible thing to work off of so that she can have an opportunity to become the top heel in your company. It's there for the taking. Naomi is doing everything right based on everything that she is being given. And I agree with you. I don't think it's just Money in the Bank, boom, we can make it work. But I do think Money in the Bank, we have seen, has been a great catalyst to turn a heel into an uber mega heel. It worked with CM Punk cashing in on the beloved Jeff Hardy. It worked on Edge cashing in on John Cena, becoming the ultimate opportunist. It worked with Seth Rollins doing the heist of the century. So it's there. We have the blueprint as to how to utilize Money in the Bank to catapult a heel. However, it can't just be that. You need to do everything right on the lead up to that cash in to really be able to catapult that character and take advantage of it. Will WWE do it? I don't know. I'm just saying, making the argument that the opportunity has presented itself for Naomi and for WWE to do something about it.
And the big thing as well is, if they're going to burn the men's case right then and there, Naomi could carry it for a while. She could be menacing with it. But like I said, it wouldn't be. It's more of like I said, a traditional way. It's the Money in the Bank that makes her the scariest heel in the business. But she has to do something dastardly. What if she casts it and just beat someone down with it, like Mariah May with the shoe? Give me something heinous. I want something heinous, man.
You want the heinous. You want the bad. You want the nasty. You want the ugly.
Well, if she says proceed with caution, what does that mean? Have we seen her explode on anybody? No. Have we seen how deep Naomi could go, how dark she can go in terms of her violence?
They've been very surface level so far.
Right. It's been like, ooh, I'm going to get you. Well, I want to see how far it could go so people could be like, Give me good old John Moxley. Ah, you know, type of thing with a bag over the head. Like it could, like, dog. If this was the Attitude Era and Vince McMahon saw a bag on the other head on the other side, oh, he's like, oh, we're gonna go all the way.
A bag and a hammer. That's what we're gonna use.
A hammer on the hand, like that's something crazy like that. Like there, that's the one thing that I feel that the WWE has seemingly not been that way in a long time, where they try to one up the other promotion. Instead, they just try to ignore them. But hey, Attitude Era and that Monday Night Wars, they were going back and forth. Is random music playing through your ears now?
No, just one of the earbuds died.
Go wired, bro.
No, I'm
wired.
Good.
Wired is the best.
No, man, I like my freedom.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna make your cutting stock deals on the toilet all of a sudden?
You don't know this.
You want to listen to your podcast from your computer on the John? What's
Maybe I can do all of those things. You can't.
Oh yeah. What do? You just you can play your little Wii games out there, little.
That's a perfect example as to why I can't use wired.
Yeah, it's not your fault. You hit your hand on your own microphone. That's not going to protect you from your clumsiness.
Okay, but it protects me from tripping.
Oh yeah, that's why they call them Triple H trips.
The game. Wii Sports. That's the game. The other game is the Wyatt Six joining the game of the tag team division over on Friday Night SmackDown. The greatest SmackDown. So sorry, they are dubbing themselves the greatest tag team division in professional wrestling. And like based on what I'm seeing from like the major promotions in North America, at the very least, I would agree. The tag team division on AEW isn't the greatest right now that it's been. When I look at NXT, the NXT division, tag team division, is the weakest that it's ever been. Raw is a pathetic joke. And then that leaves us with TNA. TNA is okay. SmackDown is definitely where it's at. That tag team division is absolutely firing on all cylinders. And now we've added the Wyatt Six here. And me personally, man, I'm cool with the Wyatt Six being here. I'm cool with the Wyatt Six having something a little bit more grounded, something that they can chew on every single week, as opposed to like going weeks with like mystery vignettes and like, what are they doing? What are they not doing? They've disappeared for a month. When are they coming back? This is probably a good, healthy spot to put the Wyatt Six. It's a good, healthy spot to put the auxiliary members of the Wyatt Six, not named Bo Dallas, right? One of the concerns for me with that Wyatt Six family was that it was always so heavily focused on Bo Dallas, and it didn't give the other guys much of a thing to do unless they were only feuding with factions. Now, in like a tag team division, one of those guys can have something to do and fight on behalf of the Wyatt Six. So I think that right away, that's smart. You don't have to rely on just faction versus faction warfare anymore, because that's a limited pool that you can draw from. This is not a limited pool. We saw all the tag teams that were in there, plus all the tag teams that aren't in there yet. Like, for example, Legado. They're busy somewhere else. Pretty Deadly, going to be the jobbers of this division.
Don't do that. Don't say that.
They are. If they're not being featured in the...
Where's your love for the musical? You were so waving the flag. You were going to be there front row with
I'm waiting for George R.R. Martin for that fraud to release the Winds of Winter. I've turned on him, man. Did you see that he crashed out on Tumblr the other day?
He's on Tumblr still? He's on Tumblr these days.
Every couple of months, he posts an update on the Winds of Winter on Tumblr, and this fraud talks about like, oh, I've been working on this, on that. And then he goes on for like 5 paragraphs. And I know that you're all probably going to hate that it's not the Winds of Winter because it doesn't matter to you, but you know what? It matters to me. Shut up, George R.R. Martin. Get to work on the thing that people actually care about. Nobody cares about your stupid telenovela that you're working on. I just want the Winds of Winter before you die. All right? Winds of Winter, Dream of Spring, get to work. It's been 15 years. 15 years since A Dance with Dragons. God, R-Truth was released from the WWE before you finished Winds of Winter. Are you kidding me? I hate that man. He's holding a thing that I want hostage. I don't know how we got to that.
It's like I psyops you like Winter Soldier.
Dude, you said blueberry and it like triggered
I'm Nemo, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, come on, bro. Didn't oil up then. There's someone out there that's just like you, Prasanti. For years, I've been telling him to oil up.
I'll oil up if George R. R. Martin gives me Winds of Winter and a release date for Dream of Spring.
All right. What's the timeline? We got to put timeline on it. It can't be open-ended.
How? It has to be open-ended.
Okay. You heard it here, folks.
I have no choice for it to be open-ended because I'm dealing with the timeline of somebody else. A slow piece of shit that won't work.
You just made a deal with the devil, dude. There's a devil like, yeah.
Brother, people, he's mentioned how many pages he's written for Winds of Winter, and they backdated to like when he said he started writing. It is an average of a page a week. A page a week for a writer, a professional writer. What is that?
My man loves to eat, dude. Have you ever read all that stuff?
Yes, I have. Oh, and he bites into the succulent meat, and the grease slides down his chin into his beard as his beard glistens with the delicious grease of the meat that he just bit into. Man describes food in anytime food's on in a page.
And that's Jon Snow right there, bro, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Anyways,
you know nothing, Santi.
6.
You know nothing. You know nothing.
Do you want Bo Dallas to still have kind of like the singles feuds going after individual people, and while having the rest of the Wyatt 6 be busy somewhere else? And this is a weird comparison, but it could be kind of like, remember when the Bloodline entered the tag team division? They had the Tongans busy in the tag team division while Solo was still doing his thing. You're
using the word busy as just working like 3 weeks in the tag team division.
I mean, they became tag team champions. They were in the division for a while. They were multi-time tag team champions. No, the Tongans were there for the Tongans were there. The Tongans were there for a reasonable amount of time. The Tongans were there for a reasonable amount. God damn it, Sancho.
No, I hear what you're saying. Yes, I do see that. And that is why I do think, I know people are like, oh, the vision of Seth Rollins is set, right? We don't
You didn't
need
come
any
up
more
with that.
people. I think I did.
You didn't come up with shit. You didn't come up with shit. Stop it.
It sounded a lot cooler when I said it, right? It sounded like it made sense. Like
kind of ruined it, actually. Kind of don't want that anymore.
It's too late. It's going to happen. I manifested it. That's my power. It's my mutant power. I'm sorry. So if Seth Rollins, everyone's like, oh, they need to just keep these 3 and no more. I'm like, dude, why not add Motor City Machine Guns, a tag team that definitely needs a boost and some sort of make them a lot cooler. Add some sprinkles to that vanilla ice cream scoops of the Motor City. Yeah, I do agree. Wyatt 6 being in the tag team division, I like that opportunity. I don't see Bray Wyatt going after singles because it did not work.
Bo Dallas. I
do not see that it did not work. It wasn't executed properly. They didn't show me that they could do it. They tried and it failed miserably.
Did Chad they try? Because he only
Chad Gable got worse. Like,
I know, but that was factions. I'm talking now. We don't have to go after just people in factions. I feel like the pool opens up a lot more.
But Chad wasn't in a faction when he was going chased after.
Yes, he was. He had already made American Made.
He was freaking out, and he was like, "I need you to help me."
I remember.
Remember,
that.
He
Yeah,
was like, "I need your help," and he would go back to Alpha Academy. They're like, "Well, can't help you now, brother." And then he finally found American Made, and he got worse. Was he as abusive as he was at American Alpha? No, Alpha Academy. No, he wasn't like grabbing Otis by the beard and chopping him and whatnot. He wasn't doing that to the Creed brothers. But he still is a bad dude, and now he's even worse because he's out there moonlighting as a luchador.
Allegedly.
And you notice? Allegedly. And you know they changed the name back to Gulf America?
I did. It's the first thing I pointed out during his entrance. Yeah. I'm like, there we go.
Me too. I was like, oh.
All right. The cowards have
never back down, brother.
That's it, man. It's sitting in the trench that you yourself dug, brother.
So I don't see Bo Dallas doing that because they haven't proven there's a formula to it. And I don't think SmackDown is open for said shenanigans. I mean, yes.
What if Bo Dallas goes after Apollo Crews? Yeah, brother, I see.
Yeah, you remember you were a prince.
He brings out his Nigerian character right from him.
Yes, brother.
Brings back Commander Aziz.
Oh, God. What was his name in Raw Underground? that Shane McMahon would just repeat over and over again? Started with a K? It was started with a K.
Let me oh, I know it. Hang on. I'll figure this out. Wasn't it Dabakato?
Cabocado?
Something like that. I know he was Commander Aziz there for a while there.
That was a big dude. That was a massive dude.
Yeah, he was
my point proven is, I've said it. We said it here. I'm gonna lock it in here. Stone Cold Pipe lock in that this is the Wyatt Six. What last chance to do something as the Wyatt Six? Now they could splinter. I don't want. What was it? Oh God. When Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, they were like
the Bludgeon Brothers.
Ugh, I don't want that. Right? We can't do that. They can't survive individually. They have to be together as a unit.
What's your gimmick? We carry around sledgehammers, big old mallets. Okay.
It kind of reminds me of John Moxley or Dean Ambrose when he was Blade Brother.
Yes.
What's your gimmick? Oh, I may have rabies, brother.
Well, and there's also Big Red Eric Rowan, where like after the Bludgeon Brothers, I think his gimmick was to carry around like a cage that had a spider in it. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It was like, well, we got this. What are we gonna do with this whole lighting rig that we set up for the? Put it in the spider. So yeah, they can't survive individually. I think Dexter Lumis can because he had a cool gimmick going back. Joe Gacy maybe, but there's just too much of history, and that's the problem when you attach yourself to something as enigmatic as Bray Wyatt. You know, you put yourself on a huge pedestal to kind of recapture that magic, and that's so hard to do. And because, like I mentioned with Naomi, it requires so many outside factors for everybody to buy it. WWE needs to buy it. TKO needs to buy it. Everybody needs to be on board of this mystical thing that they were approaching, that they could change lives and change your demeanor. And they tried with Chad and they didn't do it. Like if the Undertaker came back, that gimmick came back, and no one bought that Undertaker no sold finishers and would get up and would have this supernatural power from this urn, that gimmick dies immediately. But the great thing is the internet did not exist. And me, baby Sancho, believed that the urn gave him power. Oh, yes. I really did believe in general that Bo Dallas fought his way and he won with crappy ways. Like he fell into wins. And I love his little pop belly running around. Believe. And he was all about toxic positivity, which I thought was a strong gimmick for him. But clearly we're here. This is what we're being served. And I'm hoping that it comes to fruition. And it's odd to say, at first we didn't say they need any gold. They need tag team gold. They need it.
All right. Okay. Let's wrap this up. You wanted to talk about Rusev and Sheamus. How are you feeling about this feud that's blossoming here? The reunion of the league, La Liga de Naciones, the League of Nations.
I still think it's funny that Wade wants no business of this.
Yeah.
Come on, Wade. Have some fun, Wade. You got some bad news. And I'm surprised that they didn't use this opportunity to bury Alberto Del Rio. That's something Vince would do. Am I right? Vince would do that. He'd be a little scummy. He would bury you. And even though you're not in the promotion anymore, he'd be like, that guy sucked. Right? This is where Rusev should have started when he first walked in the WWE. I feel like we saw the prologue, you know? Like imagine, right?
Agree. Like the second this feud started, I'm like, why don't we just start here?
Yeah. You know, like, do you think, okay, nerd to nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Go ahead, nerd.
Does Lord of the Rings pop off if it started with The Hobbit?
Oh, no, it doesn't. No. Now, no. The story of Lord of the Rings, had they started with The Hobbit, I feel like it just wouldn't have popped off the way that it did. You're right. I'm with you.
Alpha Academy's The Hobbit.
You think they're The Hobbit? You think they're The Hobbit? One book being turned into 3 movies?
Well, I'm glad it wasn't. It easily could have. Every time, that's the Alpha Academy vortex.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to go through Tozawa, Otis, a tag team match with both of them, and then you're gonna have to squash Tozawa and Otis at the same time in a handicap match, and then you're free of Alpha Academy. So that is the vortex that Rusev luckily got out pretty quickly, but still it should have just started with Sheamus, because now I understand that they're trying to give Sheamus like, hey, I'm a bully, I bully bullies type of thing. I'm the good guy here, but it's Sheamus that doesn't need that goodwill, because
bullying bullies is still a problem. By the way, that's still bullying. I'm just saying that's still
it's a vicious cycle, man.
Vicious cycle, dude.
Eye for an eye. I see you, brother Sheamus. You want to be a bully and you want to save people, but it turns out you're the bully.
Hey, being a bully to a bully is still a bully.
Help it make sense, Santi.
God damn it! Stop using your Jesse the Body Ventura logic here.
How can a bully you free a bully by bullying a bully? Makes no sense.
It makes no sense. It's BS.
Why is Rusev fighting Tozawa? He can take him out in a matter of a second. We're working
make it make sense.
Dog, if you use that in your normal day, I'm sorry for the brain rot that we've caused you. We are not responsible for your everyday, especially with your significant others. Especially if you're like, babe, check this out. I feel so. I do this to my wife right now. They're like, babe, check out this video. And if you showed our videos to your significant other, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry.
I'm wondering if enough time will pass by where people will submit stories that we like caused a divorce or something. Like, I would like to know, by the way, if it ever happens because of an episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast, please write in. We want to know. We want to know that we ruined your marital status.
Wow. Maybe can we end positive? Maybe someone met, you know?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe you guys met.
I've had someone message me that they met and they're married, and they invited me to their wedding.
I'd be nervous if you met your significant other from Wrestling is Cool. What's wrong with that person? You guys are just a combination of just brain rot at each other. All right. Yeah. You guys will get into a fight. You'll lose the fight. And instead of being like, oh, I'm sorry, you know what? You're right. You're going to be like, you got to be good, brother.
You're gonna have a little brain rot, baby. You know,
dude. It's their first "I love you" is going to be. You want to know how I feel about you? 4 letters, 1 word. Love. You're trying to get your significant other to feel better about themselves. You'll be like, babe, animo.
How was I last night? Sorry. Again, we're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. This is what you signed up for. Okay.
Let's get to new heat order.
Sure. New heat order, folks, is the all-encompassing forever list. Again, shout out to, I keep forgetting their name because I don't know if they changed it, but we have a running list of the new heat order, and we're going to determine what goes down at the end of the year. Let's go to the previous week's new heat order. I've been writing my timestamps on my notes, and I drew like maybe borderline. I may get you. Oh my
God, type of Zodiac killer. Oh my God.
Number 10.
I always get double dash. That's what this looks like.
Number 10, Jesse Ventura. Number 9, the Wyatt 6. Number 8, Dominic Mysterio. Number 7, Liv Morgan. Number 6, Roxy. Number 5, R-Truth. Number 4, John Cena. Number 3, Trick Williams. Number 2, Cody Rhodes. And 1, Bronson Reed. Number 1, R-Truth.
Easily number 1, R-Truth.
Isn't it crazy that Carlito probably... You think Carlito saw that opportunity like, I'm going to make my announcement here now too? Rather than like, wait?
Maybe. It's possible. Like... Yeah, I could see that literally being the case. I remember I tweeted, wrestling became less fun with a picture of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z in the rain. And then 20 minutes later, Carlito announced his. Maybe he saw mine. He's like, let me make wrestling more sad now. That's my headcanon.
I'm going to make this more uncool. All right. Number 10, R-Truth. Is Carlito on this list? I don't know. He didn't really. His WWE run was not great. It's not great.
Yeah, let's not put him in yet. Stephanie Vacher. debut.
Yeah, I'll put her at 3.
I'd say 5. Put it. I think so. Safe is a 5, maybe, or maybe
4?
we want to go higher. Maybe like a 4.
Meet me in the middle. 3 and 5 is 4.
All right.
Boom, boom, boom.
El Grande Americano /
Ugh.
potentially Gable has to be on this list.
Beating AJ Styles and CM Punk in one match.
That's crazy work.
That'll be forever be on the cage match of Grande Americano. Do they have 2 separate profiles for Grande Americano and Chad Gable?
No idea. I know that like SmackDown Hotel has them in the same profile. They didn't.
Oh,
They recently
come
added them.
on.
They recently added them. In the same profile.
Help it make sense, Santi. They say kayfabe is dead. Let's see. Grande Americano. If it's in cage match. Yeah, he has his own. And it's funny, he's from boo. It says Chad Gable, comma, El Grande Americano.
Disgusting.
Boo. Disgusting. Boo.
Pathetic.
Where are we doing?
Yeah, give me. Well, who's 2?
I think I'm gonna put it at 3.
Well, we need a 2
before, right now.
We need to figure out 2 before we
could easily go Cody, CM Punk. Okay, is any of the main eventers doing it for you right now?
No.
Wow.
No, not right now.
Wow.
Not in the program that they're in.
Wow.
I'm almost tempted. Maybe it should be Grande Americano 2, Stephanie Vacher 3. Now that we're really, really breaking things down.
All right. Sucks when you're writing pen. I'm gonna put that. Grande, dude. When I Google Grande Americano, I see him, the luchador, and then I see Starbucks drinks in the images. Dog, Starbucks is probably pissed. You know what people should do? Go to Starbucks drive-thrus and play Grande Americano's theme when they go, "How can I help you?"
They won't know. Dude, this is the brain rot you're teaching our community. Stop it.
I'm sorry. Babe, you know what I want. All right, there's our top 3. We fixed it there. RTruth, Grande Americano, Stephanie Vacher. Number 4. Okay, so we have the both people that are the final people to be in Money in the Bank.
Wyatt 6 on here. I think they should.
No,
be top 10.
not yeah, but not that high. I mean, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker with a great tag team debut.
Yeah, you can put them as B&B.
Okay, B&B. What was your favorite name? The Disaster Hounds.
Disaster Hounds.
Disaster Hounds. Any love from the SmackDown side of things? I mean, we have Naomi had the Bianca opening up the show.
Yep,
we had Javon Evans and Ethan Page.
That John Cena Logan Paul stuff did not land with me.
You didn't like John Cena coming out there as like, it's because he's so ham-fisted, Santi. He even when he's being cerebral, it feels like it's an act for him. It's not natural for him to be a heel. Like when he is a face, it's so natural for him to be.
I feel that. I feel what you're saying.
And when he's a heel, he has to be this persona where he's so biting and like toxic. And it's like, that's not you, John. That's not who you are. Maybe that's what they're going for, but they look like 2 chuckleheads out there. You know what I mean? So
Very chuckle.
none of them.
Very chuckleheads.
So the main event didn't do it for you. What about the Seth Rollins thing? Anything for Seth Rollins besides the Disaster Hounds?
I mean, it's the same thing over and over again, just getting involved and interrupting matches. There hasn't been anything of interest with Seth Rollins recently in the last 2 weeks.
He's the champion. He's a Money in the Bank holder. He's going to be. In my feel, maybe. Anyway,
you got all of that wrong. He's a champion. No, he's Money in the Bank holder. Nope.
I'm from the future. Okay,
The future.
The vision. 5. Maybe any love for Roman? Maybe the thought of him coming back, or is that just no?
Hasn't been featured.
That false buzz? Is that false buzz?
Can't include him on here.
Wyatt 6. I put Wyatt 6.
Yeah, give me Wyatt 6 now.
All right.
About Roxanne Perez?
I like the idea of her becoming more of a prominent figure, helping Finn Balor avoid the pin.
So we have the top 5 right now, or top 6?
We have top 6. Dude, did you hear Raquel's theme? It was kind of a sick theme.
Yeah. She's had that for a bit, but
Yeah,
they
it's a
don't
sick
ever.
thing,
We don't
but
ever play it.
they didn't even use it for the Rumble.
No.
No.
What about? Oh yeah, I think now we can toss in Naomi here.
Okay.
The return
Naomi
of
at
Bianca
7.
Belair as well.
I'll put Bianca at 10.
Okay.
She's still out.
Sure,
Like,
fair enough. What about Jade? Maybe Jade right below Naomi?
Any of them? Penta had a cool vignette. Anyone having momentum in Money in the Bank? Chad. Oh, I mean, well, maybe Chad. Let's put Chad
Andrade qualifying out of nowhere? That was interesting. That was conversation worthy.
Yeah, I mean Solo and JC Mateo.
I would put Lyra and Becky. They're consistent.
Okay.
They're consistent.
Becky over Lyra.
Yeah, in this particular week, I'd go Becky over Lyra.
I have to trust you here.
I haven't seen that fly anymore, by the way.
What about Kairi Sane getting the dub in the Io Sky?
She is in a bit of a win streak. Nah. Really, none of the men really interested us, huh?
No, according to New Heat Order.
I mean, Logan Paul had an excellent promo.
But it went too long though.
I don't think it went too long. I think that the yeeting went too long, and it gave no time for the promo that was appropriately timed. It was only 3 minutes. It's just that they only had 4 minutes left in the show. But hey, we had to make room for the yeeting. Heaven forbid.
You are not in the crowd, okay? You're not part of that live crowd experience.
They could have still done it for the live crowd when they went to commercial break during his entrance. Do the run it again during commercial break, and then way we can come back right into the storyline. It was such a poorly directed ending segment.
No love for Karrion Kross? Yes, you know what? I'm not going to put Karrion Kross in New Heat Order until he has a match. The man needs a match soon.
Okay.
Sooner than later.
We can throw CM Punk on here. That promo at the beginning of Raw calling out John Cena and The Rock, that was good. You know, you bald-headed goof.
I'm gonna put Bianca Belair off then and put CM Punk at
10. Go ahead. I'm okay with that.
All right. Here it is. The list, the expensive graphics.
Oh man.
Look at this. Number 10, CM Punk. Number 9, Lyra Valkyria. Number 8, Becky Lynch. Number 7, Naomi. Number 6, Roxy Perez. Number 5, Wyatt 6. Number 4, The Disaster Hounds. Number 3, Stephanie Becker. Number 2, Grande Americano. And 1, R-Truth. I can't believe Chad Gable just cannot crack into this top New Heat.
Impossible, man. Dude, this Grande Americano just taking all of the heat, all of the buzz of the New Heat Order. Oh, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. An extra special thank you, of course, goes out to our $15 patrons. They are the producers of the show, and one of the benefits that they get is their names read out here at the end of the show as producer credits. So shout out goes out to R-Truth Deserves Better. We want R-Truth. Roxy for Miss Money in the Bank. First patron, I Crazy Dude says, W Santis 2.5 incher. Also, I Hate Abby. Ace1151. Acknowledge the real IWC leader, Sancho. Aiden S, Alex Regal, Alex, Alfie the Chosen One, All Hail Dirty Dom, Alan the Teflon Don, Amato, I Will Oil Up If You Do, Santi Beltre, American Nightmare, Cody Lander, Andrew S, Anthony A, Antonio Arjona, Antony, Arbach, Arrogance, Ashley, Asperlitz, Austin Hogland, Bailey Saunders, Bean Pluto, BFT is the skull crushing finale with less steps, Be Hostile, Bluefoot, Bluefish, Bobby Hall. Did you see the new King of the Hill?
I did.
Opening intro.
I'm excited.
I am excited for it too.
That. Hey man, rest in peace, John Redcorn, bro.
Yeah, man. Sad story, man. Brad the Nerd, Brady Keaton, Brandon Bravado, Brandon Richards, Brian Flores, Bryce Burt, Caleb Parker, Caleb Williams, Cameron Waring, Cameron Talks WWE, Carlos Gonzalez, CB.
Rest in peace, Jonathan Joss.
Jonathan Joss, yes, the actor. Cena, Cody, Double Turn at Mania, Chase Rose, Chimchar Collectibles, Chris Butner Lucas, Chris Estes, Christian Billick, Clay, CM Drunk, Colby Mayo, Colin Roach, Connor Hoffman, Cookies for Sale, Cool Whip Tim, Corey King, Sci-Fi, Dalton Dunbar, Danny Lamb, Danny Gunk, Dar, Darren Dunstan, David Nelson, Dick Girl, Derek Barnhart, Devin Geertz, Digi316, Dylan Stapleton, D. Lopez, Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, Drake Hughley, Dumsky, Dylan Ariola, Sean, Edger Nation, Eduardo Avila, El Yoshi, Eli Ferreira, Eric Crosby, Eric Ruiz Romero, Aaron Thorne, Isach Genitalia, nice. Fishing with Papa J, Fletcher Walpole, Floating, FMFCMA. For his birthday, Santi got a Dirty Dom body pillow, Forever Wrestling, Game Escape, Gilbert Deans, Goatman of Cheese, Goose Lesnar, GXA Man Heartfelt, Henry Ramon, Hey
Can't
Shakes.
forget about Goose Lesnar.
Can't forget about Henry Ramon, man. Hoodie Cam, I'm Rick James, bitch. I'm McNugget, I'm Braun Strowman, I'm The Beef, Isaiah Rodriguez, it's Mr. Astro Kid, it's Christian, Jack Gibley, Jack Harris, Jack Parker, Jackson, Jacob Mueller, Jacob Pena, Jacob Staffel, Jaden Solomon Jones, Jake Chavoya, Jacob Kufis, James Brian Balago, Jason Vane, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele, Javion McDuffie, Jay Angel, JC Worley, Giancarlos Capellan, Jeremiah Finley, Jeremiah Kelly, Jahihi Ahihi, JJ J-Man, Joe Velez, Joe Romig, Johnny Owens, Jordan Cancel, Jordan Lynch, Josby, Joseph, Josh Musto, Juan Stroman, Juicy J153, Juliana Sarfi, Justin Brooks, Justin Perkins, Caden Rivers, Caleb Martin, Kevin Bega, Kevin Davis, Kuwaiti Rick Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Kyle P, FT Productions. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Let's Go Sancho, Santi Sucks, Liam, Life of Brian, Lil Shifu, Luke Parker, Manly Man, Mark, Marnie YCSM, Matthew Dollar, Matthew Oberg, Matthew Watkins, Mossy, McQueen X, Mackay, Meredith Lee, Michael Carlson, Michael Purnell, Michael Paz, Michael Vera, Miguel Paredes, Mikey Rada, Mitchell X, Muhammad Albanai, my dad left to go get that Finn Balor's singles push. Nathan Tully, Navid Reyes, Amini, Nicholas Kyle, Night Honk, Nino Array, NyQuil Pad, Noah Booth, Noah Burden, Obi Nobi, Obion 0012, Oil Up Now, Santi 69, Oliver Hammonds, Osama Awad, Parker Moore, Pat R, Pat McMark, Pig Nuts, Pim Cough, Frody, Prince Vegeta, Puke 1904, Puppet Spanker Johnson, Randy Cooper, Rawest of All Daddies, Reacher, Reaper God Reese, Ricardo Ramir, Rick Marr, 1R, Ricky Dutcher, RJ Don, Robert Allen, Robert Holder, Robert Rogers, Royce Ruffo, Ruben Sanchez, Riley, Sam Duke, Sancho's opinion over Santi's opinion, Sancho Zapp and Santi West in an alternate universe. Santi is her 17-time podcast champion. Santi lives in Canada. Ha 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 ha. Sauce God, Saudi Rick Boogs, Savage Bay, Screamo Scott, Semba, Seymour Butts, Shaggy WWE, Shane, Shitstain Nakamura, Sir Alberton, Slime Manny 00, Slowtoke Rodriguez, Squirt Angle, Stephanie Dallaire, Stephanie Vacker, Lookalike Contest in My Bedroom, Stephen Corby, Super Malachi Galaxy, Taco Bullfish, Taman Bryant, Tanner Cloudis, the 17-time WWE Undisputed Dumbmaster Nightmare, The Final Pebble, the Vanilla Joe Rilla, Thomas Wright, Timmy Fitzmaurice, Toasty, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trent Head, Trevor Harder, Two Slapped Cupid, Tycho, Tyler Free, Tyler Logan, Tyler McGarry, Vegan Penguin, Venom, Juan Pablo III, Whaler, What's Up, Clearly Not TKO, because they don't want to be cool, White Mexican, William Newton, Xavier D. Lewis, Javier Izquierdo, Zach Zmira, Deadshot, You Stupid, My Reeves, Zach Griffin, Zach Hewitt, Zach Butcher, Z2K, Zeke Love, Zergzito, Lord, BB, and J. Thank you guys so very much for being producers of the show at the $15 tier. We appreciate you. To everyone else, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. And goodbye.